This is Andy Pirrell for Boxing Social. I'm delighted to be joined by Craig Spider Richards. We're down here today for the announcement, well, say the announcement press conference for Saturday's fight with Jake Paul, amongst others. Craig, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you. I'm very good. Excited, raring to go.
It's good to hear. Obviously, we'll just start off with the press conference. You brought Jake a little gift, Jake brought you a little gift. Just tell everybody what the deal was with both gifts.
Okay, I bought him some bubble wrap because, you know, he keeps pulling out silly injuries. 2 days left. We want to make sure the show goes on Saturday. I brought him the bubble wrap, gave it to him to wrap himself up for 2 days. But then, because I said he's got no balls, today he's brought balls to give to me, but then he's losing his balls again if he's going to give them to me. So I don't think he thought of his gift properly, but there we go.
Do you think, obviously, because you was the one who pulled up the gift first, do you think if you didn't pull yours out, Jake wouldn't have pulled his out?
You never know of him, really. Like, sometimes he acts a little confident, sometimes he don't. You're not sure of him. I don't know if he would have, but I was going to bring mine out anyway.
Well, where did that little idea come from then?
Oh, just, you know, because he keeps pulling out. You know, we had the flight risk stuff going on with him, missing posters with him. We've had all precautions, so it was just the last precaution, you know, wrap him up with some bubble wrap and see him Saturday night.
Talking about the previous pullouts and the fact that the fight wasn't able to happen at the back end of last year, how disappointed were you with that?
I was very disappointed that it never happened because it's just stalemated my career, you know, like 8 months, 7 months. He called me out in June, we're nearly at February now. I could have boxed, I could have won 2 titles probably in this meantime. When he was ready to fight, he could have come back on and fought me or defended his titles. So, you know, it was frustrating, to say the least.
Talks about the costs as well. Obviously, the fight was in the pipeline for a long time, like you say. How much was you having to put into camps? I mean, obviously, you had to back out because of the fights being cancelled. How frustrating is that aspect for yourself?
It was very, very expensive getting these camps, paying for the camps, paying for them. You know, camps are expensive. So I've done 2 camps and both didn't happen. So I was at a loss. One, I got a 6-rounder in, and the other, I got nothing. So I've been at a loss.
So where did this whole rivalry as well, where did it all stem from?
He called me out on Twitter in June. I fought York Hall, he was ringside. I stopped the guy, he called me out on Twitter to defend his title. I went and spoke to him. That night again, he tweeted to say we should get it on July. Spoke to Peter spoke to Eddie. Then he said he had an Achilles problem, he weren't fit to fight July. We waited for September. September he wasn't going to be ready in time. We waited till October, he pulled out fight week. And we said December 22nd. Then Dom weren't going to be in his corner, so we couldn't fight. And now we're here, February the 2nd.
It's a long story. You seem a little frustrated then just trying to explain it as well.
If it's that long to explain, imagine having to go through it.
It talks about the fight. What are you anticipating on fighting, or what type of fight do you expect it to be?
I think it's going to be a tremendous fight. I want it bad, he wants it bad. I can punch, he can box, I can box. 2 hungry young guys. It's going to be a tremendous fight.
There's a lot of expectation on this fight, and a lot of people think it will steal the show and be the best fight on the night. Does that added pressure or expectation maybe make you, not necessarily doubt yourself, but make you want to put in more of a performance and a better performance?
I'm seasoned enough to not let all of that cloud my judgment. When I first used to do like press conferences, weigh-ins, fights, you think about it, overthink it, think this, oh, I don't want to do this, don't want people to think this of me. You get to the point in your career that you don't really care, people are going to judge you, they're going to like you or hate you regardless. So now I'm just relaxed, just being myself, go out there and do what I do every day in the gym, and you're being for a tremendous fight.
You've both obviously got 1 defeat on your record. Whoever loses this fight, how does their career plan out from there?
Well, it's going to take a massive backward step for the loser. My one, I stepped up on 5 days' notice, come up short on points against the British champion. He obviously got knocked out by the journeyman in 1 round. So I feel like obviously it's going to be even worse for him, but at the same time I ain't planning to lose anyway. So we ain't even got that in our mind. It's all about thinking about the win and moving forward.
I said to Jake earlier when I interviewed him, you know, when you look at the light heavyweight scene domestically, there's a lot of great names there. You know, Anthony Yarde, Joshua Buatsi, Frank Buglioni before he retired, amongst others, Callum Johnson as well. But yourself or Jake never really seem to be mentioned when people think of the light heavyweight division. What are your thoughts when those names get called out, but then you're never really in and amongst those names?
It is what it is, really. Like, people have got their favourites. Like, I think, like, of course, if, like, for instance, Eddie does an interview and he mentions Jose Burton, Frank Buglioni, Callum Johnson, they're the names people are going to stick to. Oh, Eddie said them 3, you know, and if Frank Warren's then saying Anthony Yarde or whoever he says, that's the name they're going to stick to. So it's more just like they're the names that's been pushed more. I'm not sure if it's because they're more seasoned or they've had more fights. I don't know, but I'm a tremendous fighter. I'm one of the most dangerous fighters in the division. I know Jake's a tremendous fighter, and obviously we probably ain't got the credit that we was both due, but I think this is what's going to move one of us on to get the credit that we're due.
So the plan is to have a little word in Eddie's ear, just to say, just mention me in in your interviews from now on.
No. I don't worry about that. You know, when I first turned pro, I used to think about all that stuff. I don't care, because the end goal is to get world titles and win. The good thing about boxing is everything will be revealed. You know, there's no hiding, there's no smoke and mirrors. After a while, you're all going to fight. So the best will always come to light. So for me, I'm not worried about who he says or she says. I'm worried about moving forward and winning all the titles.
Well, Craig, I appreciate your time. I know you'll have other people who want to speak to you, so thank you. Speak to Boxing Social.
No problem. My pleasure.